What's up, everyone? This is the Next Tape Podcast, episode 15 with Mikel and
Mika.
where we have conversations on different topics. We finally landed in the year 2024, everyone. Tanyka, how you feeling?
Well, still in 2023 technically. We're recording this early, but we're almost there. It's New Year's Eve.
Well,
it's for us as we're recording.
This will be released in 2024. So
yeah. So I'm not there yet, but usually when the years change, I don't feel any difference. So just another year.
Another year? Okay. But so everybody's just getting ready to do their, New Year's resolutions, new me, new year kind of thing. Like every single year. So so what type of topics are we going to be talking about today?
Well, I think before we do that, because we've been off, we haven't recorded in a month, we should talk about Christmas and how Christmas was for both of us.
Okay, yeah.
And then we can talk about what topics we're talking about.
Right.
Actually, before that too, we do have some announcements, and then we could talk about that after.
Cool.
Okay, so do you want to go first? Because trust me, my Christmas was not that great. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was good. It was basically with family, like everybody else, and just eating breakfast, open up presents, and then going out to a restaurant downtown North York.
Which restaurant did you go to?
It was a Chinese restaurant. I think it was something to do with Dragon Roll. I think it's Dragon Roll. It was a restaurant called Dragon Roll.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just a Chinese restaurant. It was good. A lot of people, and the inside of the restaurant was pretty nice. It felt like it was more of a, I would say, felt like you were in like a boat, like the theme of the inside of the restaurant. It was like boatish, if that's a word.
Sure, it's a word now.
Yeah. Boatish. So basically, boats, island, blah, blah, blah. It had that type of like Caribbean theme, I would say.
Okay.
Which is weird. It's
Caribbean theme?
Yeah. But it was more boat than Caribbean. So, but it had like on the walls, like Caribbean style type of. But yeah.
Was it a fusion type restaurant or just strictly Chinese?
It was strictly Chinese because like basically there was nothing but Chinese food. And yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was basically it. Oh yeah, and then we went to downtown Toronto just to walk around and basically give like, me and my mom was given I had a gift for a homeless person and she had a gift for a homeless person, and we just gave a gift to homeless people. So like I gave one, she gave one, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Pretty cool experience, and you watch people skate in the intersection of downtown.
Yeah, Nathan Phillips Square usually is where you go. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's basically my Christmas weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fun, not really fun. It's not really fun at all. Mm-hmm. But our homeless population where I live, I'm not going to say the town now, but it's kind of high up on the list and now in terms of how much homeless people are in my area, which is very unusual for my area.
Yeah.
pre kind of COVID. So yeah, it's kind of weird because it's like I work downtown, I live here obviously, and
Right.
um I have seen obviously seeing homeless. I don't see a lot in where I work. It's not as much as
Mhm.
like Queen Street or Dundas, depending on where in Dundas you are.
Right.
Um it's not as bad where I'm at, but
Y-
it's everywhere. It's
Yeah, it's everywhere in I would say in the GTA area slash Durham area. I would say
yeah.
that's
And
where, yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, we don't have a lot of homeless shelters in our area either.
No, there's
Um,
not a lot. I
it's
did
I think
remember.
it's one adult one and then
Mm,
one adult men one and then probably only one adult woman one as
mm.
well. And I don't even know when it comes to I guess kids wouldn't necessarily go to a shelter, probably go to a group home, but yeah, it's kind of
Well,
that.
yeah, well, there's one in the Oshawa area, I would say. But it was it, I heard it was
Yeah,
like pretty
I think
dangerous.
that's right.
Yeah.
It's in all of Durham. So for those who are in Ontario who know Durham, Durham is huge, honestly, and we
Right.
really only have one shelter
Shelter. Yeah.
for
Which
each
is
gender
crazy.
in all of Durham region. That's
Which is
quite
crazy.
insane.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah. And then I remember a few years ago, well, since we were just talking about Durham, we just might as well just say the cities.
Okay.
uh uh Ajax. There was one in Ajax.
Mm,
Basically, there and it was in the Harbor Plaza, and it was like basically upstairs. They did
mm,
one, but there was too many complaints and issues that a lot of homeless people were just sleeping outside and just
hmm.
basically bringing in like
Well, now there is
drugs.
some sort of shelter
Yeah.
um on it's not Harbor Plaza. That's not the one where the bowling alley is, right? Is that the one in the bowling alley? Because I don't
Oh,
honestly know the
that's
names of the
the
ones.
the other one with the Dollarama on the Shopper Drug Mart.
Oh, so you're saying Harbor Plaza is that one?
Yes, that one.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
So the one
yeah,
beside it,
yeah.
but closer to Station Street, there is a shelter there. But obviously, like once it gets full, it gets full. But like in the summer, we
Mm,
would see homeless people just camping out on the grass,
right. Yeah.
all over the place.
Oh yeah.
As
Yeah.
much now, but even last
Oh no,
month, I think it
they're
was.
they're still
No, they're
it's
still there, but I'm not actually seeing them as much.
okay.
But I think it was like a month ago, I was going to the station, the GO station to go to work and park in the car. And I go to the elevator, because I'm in the parking garage. I go to the elevator and there's a guy just sleeping on the ground there. And I'm like, whoa. But like, obviously, like, I think the thing is,
Yeah.
me as a woman, it's not that I'm afraid because they're homeless. It's not even so much about
Yeah.
that. It's not
Yeah.
about that. But when you see someone, especially a man, just kind of lying there on the floor
Mm-hmm.
as a woman, you're just like, and there's no one else around. It's just you and this person. It's just
Right.
like, shit. It,
Mm-hmm.
it's, it's more about that for me. So it was just like, oh, okay, but I was
Yeah.
fine, obviously. And yeah, it's
I,
crazy.
so I have a question for you,
Mm.
and everyone can listen to this. So what do you give usually when it comes to homeless people? Do you give
What do I
them
give? No,
money or
I d-
food?
no. So here's the thing. As
Yeah.
a person who frequents downtown Toronto, I know
Yeah.
maybe this sounds bad. I think
Yeah.
I've only ever given money a handful of times
Mm,
to a homeless person,
right.
but
Mm,
I tend to not do that
yeah.
at all
Yeah.
because first of all, I don't carry money with me. I don't carry physical money anymore unless I really have to. So there's that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't either.
But then there's also the aspect of like you give something to someone, it's like they're never gonna stop expecting that. So,
Yeah.
and honestly, half the time, I'm gonna tell you this because I've learned not every person you see is in a similar situation, obviously, but there are some homeless people, quote unquote homeless people, who are richer than you and me combined.
Yeah.
You gotta take that into
Yeah.
consideration as well.
Yeah.
But and
Yeah.
that's not
I agree.
everybody. I'm not on everybody. I'm not saying that's everybody. Obviously, there are
Yeah.
people you can physically see are are in dire need. But the last thing they need me to give them is money
Mhm.
because 9 times out of 10, those people are taking the money and going to an LCBO or going to get drugs or whatever
Right.
because it has happened, not to me, but it has happened where someone will give a homeless person food because we're
Mhm.
like, that's what you need the most, right? Is food.
Mhm.
And they've literally taken that sandwich and thrown it back in the person's face because they
Right.
don't want the food. They want the money. That's an indication.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
So,
so for me, as a person who frequents downtown Toronto on a regular
mhm.
basis, sees them out there, I don't give them anything. And I think, unfortunately, again, I know that sounds horrible, but I think, again, as a person who goes downtown a lot, who understands that, it's
Mhm.
not unusual.
Right. I
And
think a lot of people. Sorry.
go ahead, go ahead.
I think a lot of people can relate to you
Yeah,
in those situations.
yeah.
But
And I've come across
it,
people who are a little scary or a little like even like my mom one time had to go to the hospital. This was years and years ago. We had to go
mhm.
to the hospital. We ended up at Mount Sinai, I believe,
Mhm.
and which is in downtown Toronto. And we about ready to leave. My grandpa had come to pick us up, and we were about to leave. My mom's like, "Oh, I have to go use the bathroom," but there was this homeless guy, he was a black guy, just staring me down in like a
Wow.
suggestive way. And I'm like, don't leave me. Because
Mhm.
I'm not saying he's actually going to do anything to me,
Mhm.
but that just, again, as a woman, just makes me feel very uncomfortable. And
Right.
I'm just like, don't leave. Like, I don't know what this guy's going to do. Don't leave.
Mhm.
And she's like, okay, just stay here. If you go missing, I don't know who did it. I was like, oh,
Mhm.
great. But like that's the
Right.
other thing too. There's like you get that, or you get people who are like screaming at themselves, and it's like, where's the security guard? Because you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know what people have. So there's also that. You don't. I tend to not engage. It's just I don't. I just tend to not engage. I think it's sometimes they engage you, but
Mhm.
that doesn't happen all the time. I think the ones
Yeah.
who tend
Sometimes.
to
Yeah.
engage you are, uh, I don't know. I don't know, a little different than the ones that just don't engage. They will
Yeah.
ask for money, but just don't engage you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And you see a lot of the creative signs in Toronto as well. And
I wouldn't say
and
creative, but they're
yeah.
signs. Yeah.
Yeah. Some of them are pretty funny. I would
Mm.
say there's a solution in give them a gift card. I would say, uh,
But
to a
again, the
certain.
gift card is still money.
I
They
know,
can
but
take a gift card and sell it to somebody, and they still
yeah,
get the money.
true. But it's at least it's somewhere, or somewhere that it can get food, or somewhere that yeah. But that's at least something that you can do. That's a different solution. Or like I said, like basically go to like say like get a gift card from Subway basically, and just uh they can only purchase something from Subway, or Pizza, or McDonald's. They only can purchase some, not those like cards, like that's for the general. Like I would
Again, but
say like
here's the
those
other thing.
mac.
Here's the other
Yeah,
aspect when it
yeah,
comes to doing gift cards, especially if you're getting gift cards to homeless people in downtown Toronto, maybe not so much anywhere else, but in
mm,
downtown Toronto, a lot of those restaurants shut down at a certain point of the day. They only open because you got to remember a lot of that stuff is in the path, right? A lot of it's in the path. There are some places that are, um, above ground, but a lot of it is in the path.
Yeah, but it's
If
they can
but
still walk.
no, 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 listen to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They shut down at a certain point in the day because their main crowd is now gone at 5 o'clock. So those places, not even so much that, they actually lock the doors to some of those buildings, especially on the weekend. We've encountered that. When me and my mom went to go see Hamilton in the summer, and we're like, oh, we're kind of hungry,
Mm.
but we don't think the path is open. And the path was not open. We couldn't get in. So you have
Okay.
to also take that into consideration. Gift cards are great, maybe
Yeah.
for during the day, but I think a lot of us can agree we get hungry again, right?
Yeah,
And
but
those gift
yeah,
cards are kind of useless.
yeah, they get hungry, but at the end of the day, at least they had something like in the morning or
Fair,
in the
fair.
afternoon,
But again,
So
you can't control when someone wants to get food. And maybe they can go to Union Station. I think that might stay open. I'm actually not. Actually, no, I think even Union Station food closes at a certain point, just kind of based on my memory of when we went downtown to see Hamilton. So it's gift cards are a great idea, but I
mm,
think the grand scheme of things, I think someone is if you're going to give someone food, just buy them the food. Don't I want to give a gift card to
yeah, that's
someone who is in downtown Toronto. It's and also you have to also take into account there are security guards everywhere. Those security guards are going to remove those homeless people because that's what they do as well. They remove
yeah,
them.
yeah. Obviously, they can remove that, but a homeless person can just easily walk in and just like
No,
just
no, you're
use
not
their gift
listening. You're
card.
not hearing me
Yeah,
as a person.
I'm hearing you what you're saying. You're
Yeah,
saying certain type of homeless people just
not certain types,
sit.
all of them.
I mean,
They get removed,
I know,
even if they are
I understand, but
doing.
like, I understand what you're saying. Like, just sit. Okay, well, all homeless person who sit down or sit down on a certain section, and then like say if they sit down in Tim Hortons, right?
Mhm.
All of them, they get removed, but it doesn't stop them from like like there'll be that one homeless person that comes out of nowhere and just walks in with a gift card and you know here's what I want, blah blah blah. Here's a sandwich, da this and that, and then goes out and goes to Nathan Phil Square and goes on with their day.
Yeah,
So
I hear that, but I
yeah,
also want you to understand as a person who frequents Toronto,
yeah,
is yes, you might get someone who looks somewhat presentable and is not going to draw a lot of attention to themselves. But
yeah,
then you're also then going to get those people who may not be wearing clothes or may not be wearing a shirt, who now
mm,
has this gift card and is going to go and do that. Um, those people are going to make, and this is a true story I'm telling. This is not
mm,
like a fake story. This is somewhat a true story I'm telling. Someone's going to walk into to that Tim Hortons and then they're going to make everyone else in there feel uncomfortable. Guess who gets precedent over that home is not the homeless person. That person's getting removed, even if
yeah,
they have money, because
it,
you're making everyone else feel uncomfortable. I'm not saying it's right, but that's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah, but it depends on the homeless person. If they're being loud and being
That's the thing is you
obnoxious,
don't
like
know.
etc. Yeah, if they're being quiet, lining up with the with the other customers and waiting to be next in line, and then they purchase something, then yeah, it
I mean,
should
again,
be.
it's again, personally, if I am to do anything, the best thing I'm going to do is just purchase a meal for that person and
Mhm.
give them that meal. Homeless people have killed other homeless people for less. If they know someone
Yeah,
has a gift card, that person could try to get that gift card from that person. And that also could put someone at risk. So I'd rather just do the food, the physical food, instead of doing a gift card personally, just
that's true.
because for
Yeah,
safety reasons and also just that
yeah.
makes
It's
sense.
like I said, there's two options. You can give them food, or you can give them a gift card.
Yeah, not giving them
Either way,
money.
yeah. Not
Yeah,
well, no,
not
no.
giving them
Well,
money.
I wouldn't give them physical money or
Mm-mm.
digital money.
You can't get them
I wouldn't
digital money, Mikel. How do they get
and
that?
well, a piece of paper basically, and crypto, Bitcoin,
I mean, how do they
give
get
them that.
that?
So
They don't have
basically,
phones.
uh, There's ATM machines in downtown.
And you can use paper.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
You put in the I think you put in the receipt into the ATM machine, and or you
oh,
scan it. Yeah, and
uh,
then yeah, basically.
that's out of my
So,
wheelhouse or whatever.
but I don't think a lot of stores use crypto either way
No, I don't think so.
nowadays. So
I don't think
yeah,
so.
so but yeah, like I said, like there's two options. Get them food like you said, or get them a gift card if you can.
For me,
Get
I
them,
think gift card is still too
yeah,
sketchy because they could
yeah,
just sell that to somebody,
yeah.
especially like if they have like a drug,
Yeah, it
if
depends.
they're out there, you
Yeah.
gotta also think like there are the homeless person that's
Hmm.
who's homeless because maybe they do have mental illness, which that's
Hmm.
a whole other situation. I, we're not gonna get. We've already talked too much about this,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
but if
I
that
know
person is
well,
out there because they have an addiction,
yeah.
I'm sorry, gift card is way too close to money for me, and
Hmm.
that person can just sell that and get cash for it, and there you go.
Well,
So I personally wouldn't even do that.
well, well, like just to go on to this situation even further. Here's an example. When my mom was going to the West Indian store, and then
Mhm,
when she just got bread and came out of the West Indian store,
mhm.
she saw a homeless guy. She went into the car, grabbed a McDonald's gift card, and gave it to the homeless guy so he can have something to eat. And the homeless guy went to McDonald's. So,
Again, I'm not saying every
yeah,
case is the same. You do have the
yeah,
person who's out there because they really, truly are homeless. I'm not saying that.
yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
but
There's
I'm
some people
saying,
that will do it. Yeah, I
especially,
understand what
and
you
I'm
mean.
assuming this would have been near home, right?
Yes,
Okay,
near home.
so
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this. Maybe this sounds indecent, but I'm gonna say this. Homeless people here in the Durham region, and not even including Oshawa in that. Oshawa is a little different too. But homeless people here in the Durham region are not like the homeless people you see out in Toronto. I have seen more people who need mental health help more so than people who really were just in a shitty situation, whether it be because of COVID or whatever hell was happening. 9 times out of 10, the homeless person out in downtown Toronto are people who are 9 times out of 10 mentally need help.
Right.
That's
Well,
that's the gist of that, which is
that's.
why to make it easier, just give them food. If you know, and again, mental health. I'm not saying like drug addict or anything like that.
Mhm.
That's totally separate. Um, People who need the help, and yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That's a hot take though. Like Durham and town.
I feel like it's
That's a
just
hot take.
to me. I feel like it's just different from what I've seen in the last little bit.
Mhm.
And I know the reason why this has kind of increased is because of COVID
Mhm.
and people losing their jobs and not being able to keep up with their rent or mortgages or whatever. It's
Yeah.
just different. Whereas I have been going downtown for the better part of 10 years now, over 10 years. And it's a different beast. It is a different beast out there when it comes to the different types you see. And
Yeah.
maybe, so that's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm
Okay.
getting at.
If anybody disagrees or agrees, just leave a comment.
Or not. I'm
Mhm.
allowed to my
Yeah,
opinion.
so if you
It doesn't matter.
yeah.
Honestly, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because for me, I think that at the end of the day, even if you are dealing with someone who maybe has a mental illness or even a drug addiction, what they need is help. And what they're not getting is help. And that's a whole other topic that I think our
Yeah, that part I
government
do.
needs to look at.
Yeah,
And
that
that's a
part I
part
do
I
agree.
don't want to go.
I understand in the government eyes, it's kind of a struggling situation too. Like,
I don't want to get into that topic.
yeah,
I
but
really
you
don't
know,
because
uh,
I have views,
I
but
don't get me
I don't
wrong.
want to
They
get
do
into
have the
it.
money. They do
They
have the
do.
money. Don't get me wrong. They do have the money, but I think it's a struggling situation because like you're asking yourself, do the homeless people really need help? Because like
Of course they
every
do.
time you try, yeah, they do, but every time you're trying to help them, they just go back, right?
But you have to
So
understand that, okay, there are people who really truly are
yeah,
need that push in the right direction because
yes,
whatever they're doing isn't working. But then you have those people who have mental illness, and I know you can't really force someone into um, a treatment facility. I understand that.
right.
But I mean, we have an issue. I mean, we have tent cities going up in Toronto right now,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't want to deal with it. They want to act like it's not happening. Y'all, it's happening. So can we deal with it? You're so
Yeah,
quick to help other people in other countries. I want to leave it at that. But you're not helping the ones that are here that need the help, who are born and raised here that need the help. That's what I'm getting at.
yeah,
Anyways,
I
this
know
was
that.
not a conversation about homeless
Yeah,
people.
I know.
We,
We just,
we went
I
off on a
mean,
tangent.
it could
Christmas.
have been it could have been added. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's good that we talked about it. So
Yeah.
shed some light to talk about
Um,
homelessness.
yeah. Okay, so my Christmas.
Yeah,
Jesus.
go ahead.
Um, so my Christmas unfortunately did not turn out the way we expected it. It was well, on all intents and purposes, canceled.
Mm,
Um, basically my grandparents at different times tested positive for COVID. My grandpa was first,
right.
then my grandma. And I mean, my mom's birthday was before Christmas as well, so at least that went off without a hitch. But
Nice.
yeah, but in terms of Christmas, that didn't go as planned. Still,
Mm,
our beginning, our morning, whatever, kind of went as it usually does. Had breakfast, opened gifts, all that.
mm,
So that was okay. Um, my grandma ended up testing negative on Christmas Day, but for whatever reason, my grandfather was not testing negative. Like that's it. Like
interesting.
he tested positive on December 12th.
Hmm.
He, and again, we're recording this on New Year's Eve. He literally just tested negative on Friday.
Mm,
So that's how long it seemed to stick with him for whatever reason. So, so yeah, because of that, it got originally was rescheduled to, was supposed to be yesterday. Then it got canceled again because, well, my aunts don't want to risk getting, I mean, honestly, my one aunt cannot risk getting COVID because she has an underlying disease as well. So she can't risk that. Um, so it just got canceled. So
okay.
we don't know if we're going to do anything at all because, I mean, my grandpa and my brother's birthdays are coming up. They're a week
Mm,
apart. So I don't know, maybe we'll do something. And they are kind of, milestone birthdays for both.
right.
So we'll see what happens. But yeah, and then my
Mm,
other grandmother was in the hospital, so there was that too.
ooh,
It
okay.
was just not
Yikes.
not great, and now I'm fighting with my boyfriend too, so there's that too. So it's just
Uh,
not good, not good,
hmm.
not good at all. But yeah, that's basically my
Well,
Christmas.
did you at least open some presents?
Of
Like,
course,
was
yeah.
Santa good?
I
Was
mean,
Santa good to you?
I got a new laptop, so there's that.
There you go. See
So at least
that
I
that
got like
that
gifts for sure. But
see that
yeah,
little bit brightens us up a little bit with
yeah.
all the darkness that's clouding over it. But
I still
yeah,
have another one. My boyfriend still has a gift for me too, but he says it's expensive. It better be really good because he's on my shit list at the moment. So
yeah. Not shit list, naughty list. I know
Uh,
Christmas is over, but it's
uh, I feel like shit list is worse than naughty list, so that's where he's at right now.
okay. All right. So, so
So
that's our Christmas,
that's
everybody.
our Christmas, yeah. So before we head into the actual topics we're going to be talking about, we do have, well, kind of one major announcement, and that is, y'all, we finally have social media. We finally have that.
Yep.
So we have Facebook, we have Instagram, Twitter, or whatever, Twitter, okay?
But,
And we have a TikTok as well. We I know we have Reddit as well and all of that, but these are the new ones that we
mhm.
have. And we'll have all of those links in the show notes. Um, but yeah, I think like Facebook, it's Next Take Podcast, and Instagram is the same as well, Next Take Podcast. And then I think Twitter and TikTok is Next Take Pod. But yeah, all of that will be there. We'll also update our website as well to have the links there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have those this week. Those are just we just like created those last week, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah, I think most of them were
Yes.
made last week.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
basically, yeah, you'll see
Well,
them on our
almost a month ago by the time you're hearing this, we
right.
right.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. But
we're still in the past technically by the time this comes out.
yeah,
But yeah, that's
that's
basically it for
that's
the
basically
announcements.
it for the announcement. Okay.
Yeah.
So what are the topics that we're going to be talking about on this episode?
So the actual topics, we're going to be talking a little New Year's. We're gonna do a quick little crash course on, you know, New Year's and New Year's resolutions and all of that. We're gonna talk about what our New Year's resolutions are. And then we also have some topics that we're gonna talk about as well, which I can't remember what they are. Give me a minute. Oh yes, we're going to be talking about the expected live action Zelda movie. Um,
Yes.
and then we're also going to be talking about a new development here in Canada. Well, here in Ontario, we're going to be talking about the one fair thing that's going to be happening among the public transits. And Mikel, you have a topic as well, right?
So yeah, I do have a topic, everybody. If you're a comic book fan, you know this has been roaming around in 2023 and probably before then. So Miles Morales, there's people saying that Miles Morales not being Spider-Man. So we're gonna be talking about that a little bit on that, and then yeah, basically.
Okay. So let's start with New Year's first. Again, just a little crash course. We're not going too deep into stuff.
Right.
So what is the origin of the New Year's celebration? So apparently, the earliest known record of a New Year festival dates from about 2000 BCE in Mesopotamia. I think I said that right. Who knows? So apparently, where in Babylonia, the New Year, which I think used to be called Akutu, began with the new moon after the spring equinox, which was in mid-March. And in Azaria, with the new moon nearest the autumn equinox, which was in mid-September. So that's kind of a little quick origin of New Year's. So why is January 1st now the date for New Year's Eve? So apparently this all started with a Roman dictator, Julius Caesar, have you heard of him, who reformed the calendar after coming to power. He instituted January 1st as the first day of the year, partly to honor the month's namesake, which was Janus, who was the Roman god of beginnings, whose two faces allowed him to look back into the past and forward into the future. So that's kind of why it was changed to January 1st. So, as we kind of know, there are some countries whose New Year's are a little different. Obviously, like Chinese New Year is usually, I think, in February, if I'm correct. So that's different. Ethiopia has a 13-month calendar, so theirs would be different as well. And Vietnam has a different one as well. So yes, I was right with China. They are in February. Their New Year coincides with the Chinese New Year, which is February 1st. They follow the lunar calendar. So for our astrologers out there, maybe can understand that a little more than I do. But
well, for this year, for Chinese New Year, is February 10th.
Okay.
On Saturday, 2024.
Okay.
Just
okay.
Yeah.
Usually it's still like February from my knowledge. It's always usually something.
No, it's okay. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, I know it changes, but like yeah. But yeah. So that's I think maybe Vietnam sticks to February 1st. I think that's what I'm understanding with this. But they kind of still coincide with the lunar calendar. Like I'm not sure, but anyways, that's kind of like some countries that do things a little differently, which always, I mean, it always makes me wonder, especially with Ethiopia kind of doing a 13-month calendar. It's like, how does that work? You know, like it's just, for me in my mind, who's used to a 12-month calendar, it's just like, how does that work? Like it's like I'm in 2024, but you're still in like 2023. Like it's weird to me. I think it's more about just like I want to understand like how that works. But so yeah, that's kind of those countries that kind of celebrate a little differently than we do.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Oh no. Yeah, I do agree with you. A lot of countries celebrate New Year's different than, Canada.
I think a lot
America.
of Asian countries in particular really do. And I mean, I know with like Ethiopia, like I know things are a little different there. Like I'm not sure if a lot of African countries are somewhat similar to that or kind of have their own different thing. I'm not sure, but at least with Ethiopia, like I know they're a very religious country, so I'm not sure like where that 13-month calendar comes from. But I don't know. That one's I expect it from Asian countries in particular because that's normal. We've been exposed to the fact that like Chinese New Year is different than regular for us. It's regular New Year, and I get that. But with Ethiopia, I mean that kind of honestly, the Learning Channel is still the Learning Channel because I found that out watching 90 Day Fiance. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm trying to look for the research on what days and each country have New Year's, and I can't find it. So we're just gonna go by what you.
There's
said.
Way too many countries to kind of figure out like who does and who doesn't. So, like even Africa alone, there's no way in heck we could like figure that out. There's way too many countries. It's one of the largest continents. That's way too much. And again, there's also the aspect of it that with Africa, it's a melting pot of different kinds of religions and stuff like that. You have Catholics, you have Muslims, and then you have like even religions that are not mainstream religions in Africa as well. So it's just way too much to kind of figure that out. Yeah.
Okay. So New Year's resolutions. I know there's been like a lot over the past years, like working out or financial goals, or how basically how certain people would like to eat something different, sleep, etc.
Well, there are apparently the top 5. There are top 5 over the years. I guess someone did the research on what the top 5 resolutions are.
Yeah,
Um,
go ahead.
so the first one is to enjoy life more. Okay, so this one kind of being a little more obvious,
Yeah,
want to have
that's
fun and whatever.
that's
And
that's every year. So
yeah. The second, kind of what you said, to eat better and exercise more.
right.
Um, which again, it's just like, we'll get to my thoughts and feelings on resolutions in a
Yeah,
minute,
yeah.
but that's another one. Another one is to learn something new. So especially like during COVID, what did a
Hmm.
lot of us do? Learned how to make sourdough bread or learn a new language or something like that, right? So that's
Mhm.
kind of what that is. So another one I can't relate with, to quit smoking is another one, and to
Mm.
manage money better is another,
Yeah, yeah.
normal. Um, so then the other thing too that I found with the resolution, the kind of, um, when it comes to like improved fitness, 48% of people usually have this as their New Year's resolution. Improve finances, the 38% of people want to do that, obviously.
Mm.
Improved mental health is 36%, which I think a
I'm
lot of us
surprised by
can.
that. I'm
You're
surprised by
surprised by that?
mental health. Yeah, it should be
I'm
higher.
not. Oh, it should be higher.
Yeah.
Um, Again, I think what you also have to take into consideration, I think a lot of us at the end of the day can kind of say, I don't know a single person who doesn't deal with some form of mental health
Right.
concern, whether that's anxiety or
Mm.
whatever. But a lot of people don't always admit that they have that problem,
Mm.
right? So I
True.
think that could be why the number is a little lower.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that could be true.
Whereas,
Yeah.
yeah, whereas a lot of people can kind of say, oh, I want to look better. So that's something that we kind of always focus on the outside, but not always focus on what's going on the inside. So,
Mm.
yeah,
Okay.
so I'm not surprised by that. Um,
Yeah.
and then lose weight, which is kind of coincides with improved fitness, but anyways, is
Yeah.
34%.
I'm surprised that's not higher too. It's
Well, that's the thing that kind of confuses me because it's like, I mean, I
yeah.
guess improved fitness doesn't necessarily mean lose weight. That can
Yeah.
mean you want to gain muscle or whatever.
True. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but again, I mean, there are some people that maybe, you know, maybe society says they need to lose weight, but are perfectly comfortable in their skin. Like whatever happens, happens kind of thing.
Yeah.
So again, maybe that doesn't really surprise me.
Mm.
Um, so yeah,
What about like money management? Is that in the others or is that
that
into?
was more like in the top 5 ones that people will pick, but that's
So,
not. It wasn't on this one because it says top three, but
okay.
technically that was 4. But
Right.
but yeah, that's kind
I
of like
see.
the percentage of what that kind of looks like. Again, there's some people who don't necessarily think they have a money issue, or if they
Right.
do have a financial issue kind of going on, it could be sometimes something that's completely out of people's control,
Okay.
right? So there's also that aspect
Okay.
of it.
Pretty
Um,
cool facts.
yeah. So I do have something else too, but we can talk about what our New Year's resolutions are, maybe what my thoughts on New Year's resolutions, and then we can kind of talk about kind of can go after that.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Me first?
Yeah, you
Oh,
first.
Jesus. So, when it comes to my quote unquote New Year's resolutions, which I, in all honesty, hate the term New Year's resolution because it's not something that you're going to continue with. I think 9 times out of 10, people do not continue with their New Year's resolutions
Yes.
in the same
Yeah.
capacity as maybe they
I,
did in the
I
first
would
couple of months.
I would think that people end their New Year's resolution between 1 to 3 months.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
So it's just like I don't do New Year's resolutions because in that aspect of things, I don't believe in them because I'm not going to continue with them. I know
Right.
what I need to do, in terms of, you know, fitness or whatever the hell. I know that aspect. For me, I tend to do goals that I would like to be able to
Yes.
reach by
That
like the end of
that
the year or whatever.
that's what I do. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, I mean, this a little, I'm not going to try to not to go too personal, but for me, like my goal is to be able to save money to find a place with my boyfriend, for example. We have other things we're doing on the personal front as well. In terms of starting a family, there's that as well. Um, so honestly, when it comes to like that's something that I have to kind of work with him on as well, right? So it's not just me holding myself accountable; it's both of us kind of holding ourselves accountable
Mhm.
especially when it comes to like the saving for an apartment or stuff like that.
Right.
That's a little more easier to do in comparison to starting a family. Um,
Mm.
but really and truly, it's like when from where we are currently at when it comes to starting our family, I'm in a pretty okay spot right now. Because there is so much involved for me as a person who has PCOS. I don't mind saying that. I think that's something women need to be open with, and
Right.
right. So I don't mind talking about that aspect of things. So as someone who has PCOS, like I'm pretty comfortable with where I'm at right now because I finally have like someone doing the work. Whereas it's very difficult sometimes when you're dealing with the medical field and all of that, where it's like, oh, there's nothing
Right.
wrong with you. And it's like, listen to me. Yes,
Mhm.
there is. So
Mhm.
I'm pretty comfortable with where we're at. We have some things that are going to be happening in the new year and stuff like that where that's concerned. And I'm pretty comfortable where we're at with that. So that's kind of what I go to. The goals for me is finding a place where I still live
Mhm.
sometime in 2024 and hopefully be in a spot where I could be like, well, I might need to take like a year off the podcast or something. I won't take a year off the podcast, but I'm just
Right.
saying like that would be my goal for 2024. But I
Mhm.
don't do New Year's resolutions because it's not something. And what am I going to say? I want to work out more. Like I already know I have to do that. Um,
That should be a mandatory thing for
and
your body.
exactly, especially
Yeah.
for someone who deals with my issues.
Yeah.
Yes, that is something that's mandatory. I
Including if you're
was,
including if you're older too. If
yeah.
you're older. Yeah. Go ahead.
What are you trying to say? I'm
Oh
kidding.
no, like
I'm
including
kidding.
like if you're like older like me, basically,
Yeah, I
I'm in
think
my
you're ancient.
30s. Hmm?
So am I.
Oh Jesus, we're not that ancient, but we're not 30s, but not
Yeah.
that ancient. But like,
No, we're not ancient. Sometimes it feels like I am, but I'm not.
no, well, yeah, but yeah, but anyways, but like, yeah, I feel like it's well, when the doctor tells you, do you exercise?
Mm-hmm.
Do you walk? Do you need to move a little more?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that has to do with you have to exercise, work out
Mm-hmm.
your body every single not well every single day or scheduled days. Like if you want to do like 3 or 2 times a week or whatever when you have the
Mm-hmm.
time. Uh, yeah, I feel like it's mandatory for your body to keep it moving. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And really and truly, like for me, even like because I do like Weight Watchers, for example, and when you put in even like if you vacuumed today or if you did laundry, that's considered exercise. Like you're still moving.
Yes.
You're not necessarily doing like I don't know, like a dance cardio or something, which I love to do,
Right.
but you're still moving. And I think for me, if I were to say like a quote unquote New Year's resolution, I would say for me, it's kind of like I know I need to work out. I have something that works for me. I do have Peloton. And what I like with Peloton is that I can schedule within the app and it will alert me and all of that. And that's why I like that aspect of it, because a lot of other things were working for me. And then I've got this and I'm like, okay, this works for me. And I was doing really well. And then I started podcasting. So I'm like, okay, this was doing really well for me. But for me, I think what I need to do is, even though I do have, like, I have this podcast, I have my other podcasts, I have my job, I have my boyfriend, so I have also have you know, a relationship to maintain. Which, by the way, guys, sex is also exercise. Let's remember that too. So, you know, you have that as well. So I have all of these different things happening in my life, and it's like something always has to give, and usually it's the exercise that usually has to give. So now I'm like, okay, I need to schedule that in for myself. And I need to be disciplined with that and say, no, maybe the podcast has to give, or maybe, you know, this work assignment needs to wait a minute, or whatever the hell. And I need to kind of put myself first. Sometimes I struggle with that. I've always struggled with putting myself first. I've always put something else, whether it is a relationship or whatever else. I've always struggled with not putting myself first. So maybe that can be more of like a New Year's resolution, but it's a lot deeper than me saying, oh, I just need to work out more. That's what I'm going to do for New Year's. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think those are my views on that. And what are yours? And then I can say this thing that I have as well.
I have a piece of paper in my hands right now.
That's fine.
As you guys can hear, I do this every single year. I type it on my laptop, and I put my goals. Not New Year's resolution. My goals of 2024, or, you know, past like 2023, and I usually, you know, finish like, you know, half of those goals. And I have a smaller list that I usually have for my 2024 goals. 2023 was a lot longer, but 2024 is shorter. So basically, a lot of it, like 3 of them, is like money management. Basically, invest into my TFSA, RSP, and, you know, improve on my emergency fund. Reach to 100K net worth, basically. And then rest of it is just like, you know, fun little things, such as, you know, things to buy, what I need in my room, or my living room area. So, you know, new TV, houseware goods, and more. And then the podcast, so such as, you know, charting on the list, so such as, you know, Spotify, Apple, and then doing more collaborations, more newer topics, etc. And then having fun, you know, me time, you know, going out to movies with friends, events, going out with family as well. And then, you know, the slightly decreasing in my video game time, even though my video game time, Sony did a wrap up compared to, like, you know, what Spotify does. They do wrap ups too, right? My PlayStation game time is basically 268 hours, which is not that much. That's equivalent to a week and a half.
Okay.
So the year before that, I did 6 hours the whole entire year. Whole entire year in 2022, 6 hours of video game time. So I was not focused on playing any type of game that year. I was just focusing on myself, focusing, you know, on me in general. So 2023, I had, like, you know, a goal to increase it a little bit, and that's what I basically did. I increased it by, you know, 200 plus. So so that's what I did. Giving back to the community, that's another goal, if you want to say that. I do that every single year. Reading more books, and then travel. Basically it. That's it. That's it, guys.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, I definitely need to read books more. Definitely need to do that. I have all these books, and I haven't read a single book.
I love going to either chapters or Coles. Love going
Oh,
there.
Coles. That's one I haven't gone to in a while. But yeah, no, I love like even if I go inside of chapters because I'm getting something for like even like when I got my brother like what was quote unquote his Christmas Eve gift, which is a book series, Dire Wimpy Kid, which I think a lot of people might know that. There were movies and stuff like that. He's been reading those books since he was a kid, so it's still something that's continued into his adulthood. So even when I go in there to get something for somebody else, and even my mom, I got her the Barbra Streisand book, like right before Christmas. I love walking into your chapters. It just makes me feel cozy.
Even the one in Ajax.
Oh, I love the one in Ajax. That's the one I went into to get. Yeah, that's the one I went into.
The Oshawa Mall's not that bad too.
I have no reason to really go to Oshawa
Yeah, but
anymore.
yeah.
So,
and then the Pickering Mall is just Kohl's, and it's
Kohl's in that one.
Too small.
I never liked that store.
Really?
Never liked it. I mean, it's also under the umbrella of Indigo, but I just never liked that store ever. I never did. I don't get that same feeling.
I feel like they need to cut those stores, those small ones, and start making like the bigger ones.
The one I think you would like is I'm pretty sure it's still there. The Chapters, yes, it's still there because my brother went there the other day. Yeah. The Chapters in the Eaton Center. It's huge. It has 2 stories. I love that one. I love that one. Even the one that's close to my work in the RBC Plaza. You would think it wouldn't have that same feel is because like it's off the path and everything, but they have steps going in, and then once you're in, you get that same feeling of this is cozy. Anyway.
Yeah.
So,
I would actually like that, yeah.
Yeah.
The one with the Starbucks in there too. Starbucks.
Well, Starbucks is not in the one in the RBC, but I think Starbucks. I'm not sure if Starbucks is in the one in the Eaton Center. I think that's part of it too. Why the Ajax one feels a little different is because it has the Starbucks off of it. But I'm not sure if that's the case in the one in the Eaton Center. It's been a really long time. Right. The last time I went in there was with my friend, the one you didn't always like being around. I'm not going to say her name. I think you might know who I mean, just based off that. Yeah, I think that's the last time I went into that one. That was before I even graduated college. So it's been a minute since I've been in that one.
Okay.
Anyway, so for everyone else out there, if you decide to do a New Year's resolution or a goal for 2024, here are 5 key steps for, being effective and maybe sticking with it.
Yes.
Hopefully. So step 1, identify your goal, whatever your goal is, kind of like what we just did. And take some time to think about the things that you would like to change or what you would like to accomplish with this goal. Step 2, break the goals into smaller steps. I do that. That is absolutely key. Yeah. I mean, obviously with for my one, the family planning, there are no smaller steps with that. It's a little different, obviously. I think for me, with what I've had, with having PCOS, as I mentioned, and we have been in this for over a year now.
Right.
We have had, in terms of smaller goals, I guess with that is kind of like, okay, this needs to be done. Okay, what's the next step? Okay, now I'm being told this needs to be done, and then we kind of just go on from there. That's the best way to kind of do it. Like, obviously with family planning, with where me and him are concerned, is a little different. But if you don't have those same issues and you're just going in and doing it the natural way without involving doctors, although I will say this, if you are planning to get pregnant, definitely inform your family doctor if you have one.
Right.
But if you're going the more natural way, there's really no like smaller steps. It's just go have fun. So it's a little different. But when it comes to like wanting to save to do for an apartment, definitely do that in smaller bite-sized goals that are a little easier.
Yes.
Even with losing weight, same thing. They never say, okay, yes, you may have a goal weight that you want to get to, but don't fully focus on that goal weight. Work on losing the first 10 and then the next 20 and kind of go on from there. Don't focus on the one goal because that can be overwhelming. So I 100% am a believer in that. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So step 3, identify obstacles. Whatever your obstacles may be, identify them and get rid of them if you can. Step 4, schedule your goals. That's actually a really good one. I kind of do this a little bit too, but definitely schedule your goals, whatever that might mean to you.
Yeah, just like what I do. Just type it, put it up on your fridge, look at it, see what needs to be done.
Or even so much when it comes to scheduling, it's kind of like depending on what your goal is. Like for example, like you mentioned investing in your TFSA and everything. Schedule, like if for some people who maybe want to do like this, schedule in your calendar or whatever so it pops up at you. So you're like, okay, invest into your TFSA or invest into whatever.
Right.
Like I'll do that too with like bills I need to take care of that I know I might forget about. I'll put it in my calendar so then it'll pop up at me that day and I'm like, oh right. So like that's kind of what they mean by scheduling. But really that does depend. Like that could change depending on what you're trying to strive towards.
Right.
And then step 5, carry out your goals. That seems pretty, obvious. And I think I'll add to that, just for me, just try to stick to it as best as you can. Obviously, life happens, things happen.
Yeah, things change. Yeah,
that can get in the way. But I think also just checking in with yourself every so often and kind of be like, okay, where am I at? Like I'm a lover of lists and stuff like that or whatever. And kind of be like, okay, here's where I'm at. Am I comfortable with that, So, yeah. And again, and if you're doing this with someone else, like kind of like how I am, some of my goals go alongside with my boyfriend.
Right.
Talk to your partner, whoever, talk to them and kind of be like, we have this that we need to deal with. We have this goal that we want to reach and do that together. And that way you're holding each other accountable.
Right. I do agree with that. Yep. Sit down, have a talk with your partner, see where your future in 2024 relies on. And just jot them down. If you feel like you disagree with some things, you can cross them out, and talk about them later. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of cool. That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I noticed I didn't put getting a girlfriend on the list, so that will happen.
You're striving to have
that will happen sometime in the future. I'll put that on the list in the near future, but that's not my focus. So
yeah, I will just say this. I've known him for quite some time, and I swear I have had relationships up the ass. I had a whole ass marriage and all of that. And you, on the other hand, have had a handful. A handful, but a very small handful.
Well, small. Well, the last one I've been in was I believe, a true one. Not these small samples, like 2 weeks or whatever. True one was basically 6 years ago. So
yeah, I remember you were with her at the same time that I met my current as well.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
that's the
so,
last one I remember.
yeah. But yeah. Anyways, moving on from New Year's resolution goals. We're here to talk about another topic, which is the Legend of Zelda live action.
Yes. So Nintendo has a plan for a live action Legends of Zelda movie. And they're kind of, with this movie, are kind of hoping that it's going to offset a failure that they had of another live action movie that they did quite some time ago, about 30 years ago. Oh boy. So here we go. So the announcement for the new live action movie for Legend of Zelda it came on the heels, obviously, with their success with their previous, or not the previous, their last movie, which was Mario. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's a Mario
Yeah,
Brothers
Super
movie.
Mario
Yeah,
Bros.
Super Mario movie, which was very well done.
Yeah, well, that was good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see it myself, but my brother did, and
I,
he enjoyed
I,
it.
yeah, I seen it. Very
Yeah,
good movie.
yeah. It's not my thing, guys. It's not my thing at all. But I knew when this movie came out, my brother was going to want to see it because he is into all things Mario Brothers. So, so yeah, so I knew that. So honest, anyway, the Super Mario Brothers movie, the box office total eclipsed $1.3 billion. That's pretty good. Pretty good. I don't know how much the movie cost for them to make, but I'm going to assume not $1.3 billion. So,
I'll do the research. Continue.
okay. So we can kind of figure out like what their take home was with this movie. So because of this, it kind of guaranteed future movies for them. So they're kind of doing something similar to like what Disney is doing. A little different than what Disney's doing. Obviously, they're redoing old movies, but they're kind of jumping on the bandwagon. Go ahead.
So the budget was 100 million.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
they really
cheap.
did it.
That's kind of, in a way, that's kind of cheap.
It's not that cheap.
Compared to Marvel movies?
We can't compare things to Marvel movies.
And then
every budget's different.
Animation is expensive.
Yes, but it's $100 million is really not that cheap. I've seen cheaper. 100 million is not that cheap. It's not hugely expensive, especially for an animation movie, but it's not like that cheap either. I've seen a lot worse. but
Despicable Me did the budget is 69 million. That's cheap.
I don't think so. I think yes, animation movies are a little more expensive. For them, really and truly, for the mere fact that it takes longer to make, but it's actually not that bad. And I think, but also with $100 million budget for an animation movie,
right?
Like Mario Brothers, it's guaranteed because we know Mario Brothers. We know Nintendo has, a standing or whatever. Despicable Me didn't initially, right? Maybe going forward, obviously, but that's not that bad.
Well, here's another one. Just sorry if I'm going off topic.
We're going off topic now, but anyway.
So Elementals, 200 million USD, and then the Toy Story Lightyear, that the Buzz Lightyear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also 200 million USD. So
you're also going based on the fact that, first of all, Pixar is huge, right? I'm not sure if Elemental is Pixar, I can't remember, but they're huge. They're a huge company, and they're backed off of Disney, so that's a huge company. But then when you're looking at Buzz Lightyear, for example, It's
Yes, they're Pixar.
that's yes, but it's already kind of going off of a franchise that we know people are going to watch,
Yeah,
right? Um, so with like Mario Brothers, it's a little different because like yes, people play the games, but a video game is completely different. Or I mean, sorry, not a movie is completely different.
yeah,
Are people gonna go necessarily watch that? We don't know, but nonetheless, they did, and they made a killing for the movie.
yes. Yeah,
So because
yeah,
of this, it guarantees future movies.
yeah. Future sequels. Yeah, yeah,
Mhm. So Legend of Zelda is technically a live action movie with this one, which I think people were also expecting that to be animation as well. I think they were a little surprised that it's going to be a live action movie.
yeah, live
I
action.
can't speak on it because I don't. My
Well,
only
people,
exposure is my brother playing the game, so
yeah, people are comparing it to Lord of the Rings.
I've heard that. Yeah,
Yeah, Lord of the
yeah.
Rings. That's what
Which
they're.
I think with kind of seeing my brother play the game and stuff, I can kind of understand why a live action movie might be compared to Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
I don't know much about the story and all of that, and whether or not it's very complicated and all that. But I know with Lord of the Rings, it's very complicated because I've watched those movies. So,
yeah, I'm not much of
mhm.
a Legend of Zelda fan. I know
Okay,
RJ's wife is big
okay,
fan of the games.
hmm
Would have to, you would have to. Well, if he was on the, he would speak on it. But like,
yeah.
but yeah,
To
yeah,
make this, to kind of take this, I don't want to take it too dark. I'm gonna take this. It's a little not that dark, but I
right.
feel sad that they're doing this movie. They didn't do this movie before because I know like Robin Williams was a huge fan of Legends of Zelda.
Yeah.
Huge
Oh, he
fan.
was? He was?
Yes, to the point that he
Oh,
named
wow.
his daughter Zelda. His daughter's name is Zelda.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So they at least would have had a viewer of that. Anyways, so yeah. So anyway, so this is not their first time doing um, a movie of this nature, a live action movie. Did you know that they actually did a live action Mario Brothers movie back
Oh,
in
yeah.
1994?
I saw that one. Oh,
Apparently, it was
God.
really bad.
It was terrible.
It
Oh,
was,
God.
I heard it was very bad.
Terrible.
So, for those people who don't know the movie, like me, the movie starred Bob Hoskins as Mario. John, I know I'm going to butcher his name, but I know exactly who he is. John Lugazamio, I think is how you say his name. He was Luigi. He's a really great actor, so I'm really sorry for him. So yeah, it was meant to be a hit. Um, Instead, as Mikel said, it was a huge flop at the box office. So because the Mario movie was such a huge failure, that's why they never did another movie for like almost 30 years.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're taking a risk with if they're doing a live action with Legend of Zelda instead of doing
hmm
an animation. So I would suggest them to do an animation,
I
in my
mean,
opinion.
I can just the limited knowledge I have of Zelda. I feel like it can make a lot more sense. And here's what I think the issue was. No one was thinking up at corporate because I think it would make sense to do live action for The Legend of Zelda. I think that could make sense. Whereas Mario Brothers does not make sense as a live action movie. What were you guys thinking? What were you guys thinking? Like, I can understand doing live action for Zelda, but like, no, Mario Brothers meant to be these cute
Yeah,
animated characters. You
yeah.
know,
Even the actors didn't like doing it. Didn't like doing the movie.
I don't blame them. I wouldn't either.
Yeah. Mm,
It just
yeah.
doesn't make sense to me. And just kind of talking about that one actor whose name I can't say. I just finished. I know I'm really late to the game, guys, but I just finished watching Encanto, which I loved. It was really good, and he played Bruno. I loved that movie. It was so good. Um, Lin-Manuel Miranda strikes again with his music. Anyway,
Mhm.
um, so yeah, so Nintendo is saying the Legend of Zelda will be done better than the 1993 Super Mario Brother. Well, I sure the fuck hope so. You don't want to repeat. And they are saying, I guess with the 1993 movie, Nintendo actually wasn't involved in the making of that movie. But Nintendo will.
I heard about that. They
So I
were
think
involved, and then
that's probably
now,
why.
well,
they
now
couldn't.
now they're very protective of their IPs now,
Which,
compared to those years in the 90s. So
that's not surprising. And so with this one, they are going to be very heavily involved. So I think that will make a huge difference.
right.
With that,
Well, I want to say one thing
mhm.
or a couple things because of the success of Super Mario and everything. Nintendo's also looking to probably do more movies in the near future, such as based on their video games, such as Metroid. You know the video game Metroid, right? It was on PC.
I haven't played it,
90s.
but I do. The name sounds very familiar. Yeah,
Okay.
I think my brothers played it.
And then Star Fox. They're looking to do that in the near future as well. You play Star Fox. Everybody still plays Star Fox.
This is me we're talking about. No, I didn't.
Man, you didn't have a Nintendo back in the day?
No, I didn't. I had no desire.
Jeez.
No, I didn't.
Nintendo 64. Okay.
Mm-mm. No.
All right. Well,
Whenever I
yeah.
was exposed to video games when I was younger was when I was at my dad's parents, and my uncle would play. He had an Xbox 360, so I would go and watch him play the games, because it'd be like all of his cousins kind of just sitting on my uncle's bed watching him play video games. So I never really played. I just watched. That's my exposure as a kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, because of the success of Mario, they're looking to do more movies in the near future. So, like, the video games I just said. So, yeah, that's all I have to say towards that. Hopefully, you don't upset the Legend of Zelda fans, because they're a big fan base.
That is a huge fan base. I can attest to that. That's a huge fan base.
At least in the early 90s.
It's probably one of the longest fan bases as well.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Like Mario Brother didn't start until when did they start? Was it 80s as well?
It was in the 80s.
80s? I think late 80s.
Yeah.
I think Zelda's been going on a lot longer.
Yeah, and the first live action, the fan base was a lot smaller, so like they didn't really have any complaints and people complaining about it, and I don't think a lot of people watched the very first Super Mario movie. So
no, because it was a flop.
Yes, yeah, it was a flop. So basically,
I think maybe they also did that movie way too soon.
Yeah,
I don't think Mario Brother was around for a very long time when they did that first movie, like not even 10 years. So they gotta let things percolate.
Well, it did percolate now, because people are probably watching it on streaming services.
Yeah,
probably not taking the movie serious. They're looking at it like, have you seen like Samurai Cop? Have you seen that?
Which one?
Have you seen that movie? Samurai Cop.
Doesn't sound familiar. No.
Okay, all right. Well, that's not a movie you shouldn't take serious. It's stupid, but it's actually funny stupid.
Okay.
Don't take it serious like it's a huge budget movie. It's a very low budget movie, but it's low budget. Writing's awful, but don't take it serious.
Okay.
If you take it serious, you will enjoy the movie a little more.
Well,
you enjoy, yeah. So same with the Super Mario movie. If you take it serious enough, compare it to the movie that came out last year, then you're not going to enjoy the Super Mario movie. So don't take the Super Mario movie.
Well, I think what makes that,
enough.
I think that what helps with like not taking it as serious as maybe Legend of Zelda, Super Mario Brothers was a cartoon movie, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna, it already has that feel of this is, I'm not gonna say a kid's movie, but it has that feel, right? Whereas Legend of Zelda, especially people are going to be comparing it to Lord of the Rings, people are going to take that one seriously.
Yeah.
It's hard to not take Lord of the Rings seriously.
But well, I'm hoping what they're doing is not, given the Legend of Zelda live action movie a small budget. That's what I'm hoping not.
We'll see. We can talk about it when it comes out eventually. I don't think the movie's going to be out until 2025.
Yeah,
it's 2025.
2025. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Hopefully, they impress a lot of people with the live action movie. So. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So next topic. So for those people who live in Ontario and who travel to work like me, hi, that's me. We have something that is going to be coming into effect, or probably already is in effect, I'm not sure, where we have the one fare situation kind of going on here.
Yeah.
So in this particular article that I found, it's kind of in the beginning kind of talking about one person's experience. So instead of me telling this person's experience, I'm going to tell you my experience with fares and all of that. So currently where I work in Toronto is, I don't mind saying it doesn't make a difference, I'm near Bay Wellington area. Okay. For those who know, that is just a block from Union Station. So I don't have to take any other transit besides GO Transit. So for me, GO Transit, I pay $17 and change every day to get to work. Now you do get a break with Presto. You get a slight break with Presto than you would with buying an actual GO Transit ticket. I think GO Transit ticket's about $20, give or take.
Is a Presto, if you use Presto, is a discount, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's a discount. And again, I'm traveling from, at this point, we've kind of said the names of the town. So I'm traveling from Ajax to Union Station. So I am third stop coming west. So that's where I'm at. That's how much I pay. Okay. So I'm not going to do the math, but let's say roughly, because I go in twice a week, roughly I'm spending probably close to about $100 or so or a little over every month. Now,
that's crazy.
Well, let me change this up a little bit. Back in the day, when we didn't have the option of a hybrid work situation, we had to go in every day, I was paying $400 a month.
Jeez.
To go to work every day. And that's just travel. That doesn't account for food. If you need to buy food, doesn't count for anything else. Those accounts for that. So back in the day, which is kind of similar now to what I'm going to talk a little bit about my mom and her travel, because her travel is a little different than mine.
So you managed to save the $200?
Well, because I'm only going in twice a week now.
Oh, okay.
Right? So I'm not spending that $400 a month anymore. And this is what was so irritating with our Canadian government taking away public transit from our taxes. We couldn't claim that anymore, which took away from that. That was a huge, especially before, because we probably went a few years before we obviously were going to a hybrid situation here. We went a few years with that huge break being taken away from us. So there is that as well. So take into this consideration when I would have to claim my travel. I'm paying well over $1,000 every year to travel to work.
Jeez.
So that comes out of your annual, right?
Damn.
Think of it that way. That comes out of, and already you're getting money taken out of your annual salary
That's
with
crazy.
taxes. So, for example, let's say you're making, and at one point I was, and not now, but at one point I was making $50,000 a year, and I make more than that now. But anyways, if you do $50,000 a year, and you have taxes coming out of your money, then you also have roughly, I'm trying to remember how much it was. I think it was about $2,500 a year for travel. You're probably taking home like $45,000 and having to then split that amongst your bills. And it's not a lot when you need the money, right? So anyways, with my mom now, with her situation, how she travels, similar again, she works 2 days a week in an office. But the difference with her is that she has to take the subway. She goes to Dundas University. So for those people who know how much TTC costs, it's about $6 and change to go both ways, on top of what she pays already for it, which is similar to my amount, which is $17 and change on Go Transit.
They're cheaper than the Go Transit. Yeah,
100%. But if that's your only mode of transportation, don't complain to me. You're living life. But when it's not your only mode of transportation, it's another hit. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a lot. It's a hit when you already have to pay almost $20 to get to Toronto, right? So, and that doesn't take into Oshawa. Oshawa pays well over $20 a month, $20 a day to get to Toronto, because it's like one end of the line to the next end of the line. Yeah. Right. So anyway, so for my mom, she has to do that. So now what they are doing is they are doing, so let me back up a little bit. So we are getting relief, as mentioned, and it starts on March 14th. Why isn't it starting sooner? Anyways, commuters will be reimbursed for their single ride TTC fare when transferring to and from Go Transit. Okay, so what they're going to be doing is so when you tap your card on the TTC from Go Transit, you're not paying any fee.
I feel like they had this back
I'm going to get to it. It wasn't zero, but I'm going to get to it.
Okay, go ahead.
So with that, additionally, TTC riders will also be able to use their free 2-hour transfer to and from other municipal transit agencies. Okay, so for example, for us, let's say this. Let's say we were to take TTC, which you can do. You can take TTC from Toronto, because I used to do it, from Toronto to the Pulse bus in the Durham region. It's a long process. I don't recommend, but it's definitely possible. You can do that. And it's just a little cheaper, obviously, if you're in dire need.
Yeah.
You then will get a break from that transit to another municipal transit.
Interesting.
Right? So that's what will happen. So here's the catch, guys. The savings are not guaranteed for long term.
Jeez.
Let's get into that. So the province has committed to fund the new One Fare program until March of 2026. So we'll have it for 2 years, with the option to extend based on results. Ma'am, sir, I don't know who I need to talk to, but I can tell you right now. What results? I think everyone's going to love this. Yes. What are you talking about?
They'll be saving a lot of money.
Exactly. But here's the catch-22, which we'll get to. So according to a motion to the TTC board in November of this year. The change will lower the cost of about 29 million to 36 million customer trips annually. So basically, more people are probably going to use it, right?
Yeah.
With that in mind. So meaning the province may have to spend $40 to $60 million to cover revenue that the TTC will lose through the transfers. So there's that catch-22.
Aren't the TTC and GO Transit funded by the government already? Or
they're under the government umbrella, but I don't know in terms of funding how that works. Probably not. So for me, what happens here is that in order for TTC to reimburse their losses, because they're going to lose a lot of money, guys. They are going to lose a lot of money by doing this, right? They're still going to have a scan of how many people are using. But imagine this for my commuters. All of those people that you see conglomerating in front of the TTC from Union Station, all of those people are going in free. And you probably have a window as well. So like, for example, let's say if I was taking TTC, someone can go and, get breakfast and whatever, and then go. They are probably still going to tap on at 0. They probably have like an hour or 2 hour window. So, yeah. So they're going to lose a lot of money. My question is, where is that money coming from? Is that coming out of taxpayers' pockets? That's my question.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, then, especially for me, who, I'm all for it for those people who need to use it. But for me, who I don't use it, am I paying for everyone else to go in free to a transit system that I don't use personally on a regular basis? That's what I'm wondering. I want to know, where is this budget coming from and who is paying for it?
And here's another question too. Will this lead to? This might be a stupid one. Will this lead to a strike
on TTC
or both TTC and GO Transit?
I don't think GO Transit is going to be affected by this by any means. They're still getting their money's still coming in from the commuters. Now with TTC, that, depending on what happens and how they get the money or how they allocate that money or whatever, could that affect people's salaries? I'm not sure.
That's what I'm thinking too.
I'm not sure.
That's what I'm saying. That they might strike. That's what
and there's been threats of them striking before. I have a family member who works for TTC, and I think the last time they talked striking was he was employed by them already. So he was like, I don't know if I want to work or what's going to happen, but that's definitely possible. And then that's the other thing. That's another catch-22 is, what's going to happen if TTC strikes? People are so fucked, it's not even funny. Listen, when TTC goes down, even for something completely out of their control, everything's at a standstill. I mean, that literally happened to my mom. They had a fake bomb threat on TTC, and everything was at a standstill.
Jeez.
So I imagine if people end up striking on TTC.
Yeah, I can see
it could happen. It could definitely happen. Yeah. So, okay, so while lower fares are popular, it may help boost ridership, which obviously it will. As we just talked about, there are going to be bigger considerations that we need to take into account. So there is a transit advocate. I'm probably going to butcher her name here. Her name is Sheila, I think it's spelled very differently. Pizzy Allen, I think is how you say her name. She
Right.
is the executive director of TTC Riders. So here's what she has to say. So, quote, it's a discount that's long overdue, obviously, but it's just part of the equation of building ridership back. We also need better service, and for that, we need permanent provincial funding for the TTC. That is also fair. So, um, so here's what we're going to get to. You kind of mentioned this before. So,
Right.
although free transfers are new for commuters, this is not the first time that the province has subsidized transfers between TTC and GO Transit. So, back in the day, and I can attest for this because when I was a TTC rider, this is what I was doing and what I was experiencing. When you tapped on from GO Transit to TTC, you would get a discount. So let's say, I think back then TTC was only $3. There was no increase. It was always $3.
Right.
You would be discounted. Try to remember how much we discounted. I think like up to 50 cents or something. Like you might pay like $2.50 or something like that, or don't know exactly, but you were discounted a little bit.
It goes around there, yeah.
And then what would happen as well on the other end, you might tap your $3 on TTC, but then as soon as you tapped on the GO Transit, it would subsidize that fare. So that's what they were doing. Now, I was always under the impression that was still happening. I never thought that ended. Apparently it did, as I think a lot of us know now.
Oh, yeah.
It ended in 2020. My mom thought it ended prior to that, but apparently no, it ended in 2020. And with something called COVID-19, really that slid under the radar and no one was aware that that was happening. So, we're going to talk about why that ended. So, the Ontario government had this subsidized fare under Kathleen Wynne. For those Americans out there, or for those people who don't live in Ontario, Kathleen Wynne was our premier before Doug Ford. Huh?
I said, ooh.
Oh, okay. So this program was started back in 2017.
Right.
So under Doug Ford's government, he discontinued it. Are we surprised? Ontarians? No. He is the reason that we all had to pay more. I'm gonna leave that there.
He's more focused on beer. Just leaving that there too.
Oh God. Anyways, so as I think is pretty clear here, and the Pizzy Allen, whatever her name is, she mentioned obviously that this went pretty much unnoticed because of everything that was going on with the pandemic, and obviously people weren't traveling as much because, you know, the pandemic of it all. So basically I think where we're kind of at now is, so we don't have these temporary solutions or anything like that. We kind of now want to see a simple flat rate fare for all transit in the GTA. I think that's pretty fair. It doesn't matter what that is, whether you know you're going on TTC or going on GO Transit or the Union Pearson Express as well, because people do use that as well to get to work. So to go on a little further for what our lady here has to say, Pizzy Allen, says the city needs to focus on the service itself. I think a lot of us can agree with, particularly as the TTC contends with low ridership, budget woes, and service cuts, as well as concerns about safety and security, which again, I think a lot of us can agree with. 2023 was very trying when it came to safety for not only, I'm sure not only just the people who are using the service,
Right.
We've had some deaths happen on TTC platforms.
I've seen a lot of incidents on CB24.
Yes, there was a huge
Yeah,
thing
a
going
lot.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we literally, I'm not sure, it was happening not just, it mainly was happening on TTC, but it wasn't just TTC. It was happening everywhere. Everyone, I think, was on high alert. Like, I remember feeling very much on high alert.
Mm.
Not sure what's going to happen or who's going to try and hurt you or whatever. Um, but there literally was a stabbing right outside Ajax Go as well during that
Right.
time as well. And I remember literally coming in to pick up my brother mere minutes after this person was stabbed.
Wow.
Like, yeah, I was coming in as officers were coming in as well.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. So,
Hmm.
yeah, so just to kind of continue on here with this, I don't think I have a whole lot more. No, I don't. So, commuters who regularly transfer between the TTC and Go Transit could save around $1,600 a year. Doesn't that sound amazing?
Yeah. Yeah. It does.
So that will definitely, this is a quote, that will definitely bring more people attracted toward the transit system, because we want to make sure when people go from point A to point B, it is affordable. And that was said by our Associate Transportation Minister, VJ. I'm not even going to try to say his name. Then Gazalam. Yeah. So that was said by him. So that's what he has to say. So other municipalities, just as an FYI, other municipalities in southern Ontario already have the same arrangement between their transit systems and Go train service. Those changes are still relatively new, and they're already in effect, actually. They've been in effect since sometime in 2023. So kind of going further here, I'm not sure who this person is. Oh, this is the person we've talked about. It was talked about in the article that I didn't actually mention here because I said my experience versus her experience. But yeah, for those people who use both or multiple transit services, you're really going to benefit from this.
Right.
And my only other thing I want to say here is Go Transit. If you ever think of raising my fee, I'll boycott you. Anyways, that's all I got to say.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember the buses. This is when I was in high school. It was $1.25.
Oh my god, not anymore.
Now it's almost at movie prices.
Jesus.
It was at movie prices at like around $12, $13.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember movie prices were like $7 back in the day.
Oh yeah, I
When I was
remember.
in high school.
I remember.
So yeah.
But the thing, they used to still have the option to watch 2D movies. And if you want to see a movie in 3D, you could, but you had to pay extra for it. Now they took out 2D. It's everything is 3D. Now it's like, do you want like Ultra something or 4D or So then those things, it's like depending on some of that's already included in that 3D fee. But if you want like something over and beyond, then that's what you pay extra for. You can easily pay $25 to go see a movie per person.
Yes.
Depending on what you want to go and how you want to see it.
Yep, I do. Yep, but nowadays is that like, Go Transit and TTC are around like $3.75 to $4 nowadays. So like,
Go Transit's more than that.
Go Transit's $4 and what?
Oh, for sure.
$4.20. Is it $4.25?
No, you're not. You remember I said I pay 17 and change a day from there and back. So for me,
isn't that the Go Train though? No,
but you said Go Transit. You said Go Transit.
Oh, Durham Transit.
The bus also Durham. I'm not sure because I haven't taken Durham Transit in a long time. But for like a Go bus, I mean, I'm pretty sure back in the day when I used to take Go Bus, the
Yeah.
flat rate was like $5. And then whatever you ended up at, then that would
Yeah,
go
that would be
accordingly.
more. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Things change over time.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
So, Tanika, do you like Peter Parker Spider-Man?
I do. Yes, I do.
How long have you been a fan of Peter Parker Spider-Man?
Since probably it was like 10-ish, maybe a little before.
Which was like the first show you ever watched? Like first showing of Peter Parker.
I probably first watched
Was it the movies or
the original TV show?
so Spider-Man the animated series?
Yes, but I'm talking like the OG. I'm talking like the 50s and 60s version of Spider-Man.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
Spider-Man and Friends,
Mhm.
and Spider-Man. Okay, I remember those cartoons.
Yeah.
And in those cartoons, were there like alternate versions of Spider-Man?
I do.
Do you remember?
I don't remember actually watching that, but I do remember there's like a meme that floated around where you see different Spider-Mans from that version of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't particularly remember that episode, but I've seen that. So I've seen like 3 different Spider-Mans in that particular meme.
Yeah. So that particular meme wasn't like another Spider-Man. It was basically like a evil version or a copy of Spider-Man that was doing like bad things and
Okay,
or
yeah,
framing the
sounds
original
familiar.
Spider-Man. Yeah.
That sounds familiar. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, basically an alternate. Just say if it's an alternate version of Spider-Man.
Okay.
Including the 90s cartoon, there were alternate versions of Spider-Man as well. We had Ben
I don't
Riley.
remember. I don't remember, but I watched. I don't remember,
watched it?
but I watched the show for sure. Yeah, I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
You remember well, that's basically Peter Parker, but you remember the legs, when Peter Parker started getting like multiple arms and everything. Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
Okay, all right, never mind. Anyways,
vaguely.
So in the 90s series, there was like Ben Riley, Spider-Man.
Name sounds familiar. Yeah.
And then you have Spider-Man 2099 in that series particularly. So just fast forward from the 90s Spider-Man to 2011. So 2011 we have a new Spider-Man. His real name is Miles Morales, and he was created by two people. So the writer Brian Michaels Bendis, if I said that right, and the Italian artist Sarah. Oh my God, I'm gonna butcher this.
It's okay.
Pichelli. So
Sure.
if I butcher that name, I apologize for the comic fans. So Miles Morales is basically Spanish / African American teenager from New York.
Mixed.
Yeah, he's mixed. Yeah, with obviously a father who's African American, and then the mother is basically let me see, my research, Puerto Rican. So yeah, so basically he's an alternate version of a Spider-Man. There's multiple, like I said, versions of Spider-Man. I just named him Ben Riley Spider-Man 2099. There's also another one, Spider-Man Noir, and then you have Spider-Woman, that one too, Tanyka.
Yeah.
And then Spider-Gwen. I don't think you know that one. That she's also newer too. But there are people out there that are not taking the Miles Morales Spider-Man serious because based on his skin color, and he's not relatable for some reason. So
here's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Like I know there's all these different versions of Spider-Man. For me personally, and is coming from a person who's black, so I don't care anything about the color.
Oh
I'm going to
no,
get to that.
I don't care either. No, go
Yeah,
ahead.
but for me, Peter Parker is always going to be Spider-Man. That is who was created to be Spider-Man. That's who Stan Lee created as Spider-Man. That is
Yeah.
Spider-Man for me. That's who I've grown up watching, Peter Parker. Now, my question is, why is he not relatable though? Why are people not finding him relatable? And if you're merely finding him not relatable because he is a colored person, then you need to process that. You need to look inside of yourself. You need to figure out what's wrong with you. This was the same situation we dealt with The Little Mermaid, with Halle Bailey playing the character of Ariel, and people putting up a huge fucking fuss about this black girl who I finally watched the movie myself. I absolutely loved it. I didn't care that she is not white as we all perceive her to be because of the original movie. I don't care. It has nothing to do with that. First of all, guys, Spider-Man's not real. Please take it as a grain of salt. It's something to watch and enjoy. Don't take it so there's not someone out there dressed in a red and blue suit, scaling walls and spraying cobwebs out of his wrists. It's not real.
I don't know. There might be someone out
Stop
there.
it. It's not real. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So for people to constantly put this much thought into a fictional character, y'all need to think about it. I know there are avid lovers, and that's okay. I don't care being an avid lover of comics. But again, please remember, this isn't real. So why are we putting this much into it?
Yeah, this much like, hate and
and then you're also putting hate out there because, again, you're merely saying that this person is not relatable because he is part black and part Puerto Rican. Y'all need to check yourself. And the thing too that I'm gonna say here is, guess what? New York is a melting pot.
Right.
And full of people who are black, Puerto Rican, or others, mixed. It doesn't matter. Like, again, I'm going to put this out here. Are you going to say that this fake person's not relatable, but we're all going to sit there and think J-Lo's relatable, and guess what, guys? She's also Puerto Rican. So can we please calm down with the racism? Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Stanley also said anybody can, wear the mask. So it doesn't matter your skin color and your nationality or who you are. You could be black, white, brown, Mexican, alien.
We'll say Latinx, yeah.
You still could be Spider-Man. So,
and this is coming from a man who was old, came from a different time.
Yes.
Where racism was very prominent.
Exactly.
And yet he can say anyone can wear the mask.
Yeah.
So all of you little haters out there who can't handle change need to think about why you can't handle the change. Is it because you're just used to the same thing and that's okay? We're all guilty of it. Or is it because you might be racially insensitive or even racist?
Right.
And you need to think about that.
Exactly.
But there's no place for hate.
Yeah, there's no place for hate at all. Hey, I will put Peter Parker first. I've been a Peter Parker fan for a long time. But I also really like Miles Morales. So he's my second favorite Spider-Man because I've been a fan of Peter Parker Spider-Man for the longest time. And even though, let's just say he's Caucasian, he's also relatable to me, in my opinion.
That's the thing. For someone to say someone's not relatable based on their skin tone, it's ridiculous, because then I would say, well, he's not relatable to me. Peter Parker isn't relatable to me because, well, he's a white man.
Yeah.
And, we all know how white men can be. He's not relatable to me. But then also that, he's not relatable to me because I don't know what it's like to deal with losing both parents and being raised by an aunt and an uncle who then also dies. Like I don't understand that.
Right.
I don't understand what it's like to live in New York, for example. There's also that part of it as well.
Yeah.
But yet he's still, I won't even say the word relatable. He's just someone I enjoy watching.
Yeah.
So
I mean, when I talk about relatable, he goes to school. He can't, like there's parts of his character you can't afford the rent. There's some people out there that can't afford rent, just like Peter Parker. So that's a relatable part. Going to school like a regular teenager or a college student, that's relatable. The only parts that are not relatable towards him is being a superhero, being Spider-Man. Even though you can be Spider-Man in a lot of ways. It's a lot easier to be Spider-Man. You can put on a mask and get, webs. That's a different story. But Peter Parker as a whole character is a relatable character, in my opinion. More relatable than I would say Jesus Christ.
Iron Man,
I would say. Even Bruce Wayne, I would say.
people who were born into wealth.
Yes, I forgot Iron Man's real name.
Tony Stark.
Tony Stark. Oh my God. Sorry. Sleeping guys. So yeah, Tony Stark, Bruce Wayne. I feel like Peter Parker more relatable because he's in that situation compared to those guys. Yeah. And also just to go outside of Marvel in general, let's go to DC Comics, where there's alternate versions of the certain characters.
I mean, that's kind of out of my wheelhouse, but okay.
Batman. There's two Batmans. You remember Batman Beyond, right? Briefly. Okay. Robin. There's lots of versions of Robin. There's lots of versions of the Flash as well.
Yeah.
So I think the reason why you can check, you can see why nobody talks about them, and there's a reason why.
They're all white.
Yes. Every single one of them are all white.
Yeah.
And as soon as one character who is, the mix gets into one of the most famous superheroes of all time costume, he gets
the problem.
He is the problem. Yeah. So, like you said, you are the problem if you have an issue with that. So,
yeah.
That's all I'm just going to say about that. He has two movies, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse, and then a sequel video game based on Marvel Spider-Man. I don't know if you played that, Tanyka. I don't think you have. Which is called Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. So either you like it or not, he's coming. And he's coming soon to live action as well. So,
and here's the thing that I'm going to say too, just kind of off.
Yeah.
So for those people who are in Canada and are seeing the Crave commercials, people like obviously Crave promoting their product, trying to say, buy us. Do you notice the one thing they always show is Into the Spider-Verse, and the character that they always show is his character?
Yes.
So get over it.
Yeah. Get over it, guys. Change is coming. Is coming. And, I'll be the first to support the live action when it comes to the MCU. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that is my rant about, people saying that Miles Morales is not Spider-Man. He is Spider-Man. So this ends episode 15 of the Next Tape podcast. The Next Tape podcast is available now on all podcast platforms. We also have a website called solo.to/next tape podcast. We are also will be available on social media such as Twitter are available such as Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and many
Instagram.
more.
Do you say Instagram?
Oh yeah, Instagram as well.
Yeah. All of that will be in the show notes.
Facebook and Instagram are basically the same thing. They're under the same umbrella, but whatever.
Okay, enough of him. That Instagram is its own thing, even though yes, it is under the same umbrella. Meta, but yeah.
And and many more that we're going to be promoting on the website.
That's all. That's all. There's no other.
Is there
there's
more?
no other socials.
Oh, okay. All right. No. Okay. And for our contact email, us at mikeltanyka@gmail.com. So this was an interesting episode.
The first episode of the year.
First episode of the year as well. We talked about I don't know.
We talked about a lot of stuff.
Yeah, homeless, which came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
which is a good thing. You know,
was not planned.
It wasn't planned at all. You shed light on the homeless people, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
We also talked about New Year's, which is cool, which was a pretty fun conversation. The TTC / Go Transit one fair. We talked about that. Hopefully it continues.
Past 2026,
yeah. Past 2026, yeah. And then we talked about Miles not being Spider-Man, which he is Spider-Man, guys.
So, and we also talked about Legend of Zelda movie.
That too, Legend of Zelda. Don't mess it up, Nintendo or who's ever
in charge.
Directing the movie. Don't mess it up at all. Yeah. So that is my final say. Anything you want to say, Tanyka?
No, I don't think so. Hopefully everyone had a great New Year's when we're coming out after New Year's, and hopefully everyone had a great New Year's. And I guess everyone's back at work and just remember to breathe, as I will too.
Breathe,
Lord. Not ready.
Oh, 2024 is coming or is here.
Yeah.
As this podcast will be, land on 2024.
I mean, we only have a few more hours of 2023 as we're recording. So
yeah, exactly. All right. So I am Mikel
and I'm Tanyka.
And we are out until next week, guys. See you later.
Bye.